Hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us for today's episode of Trade the Chain. I am joined by the best hair in crypto, Ryan Gorman, Monty, and CJ, the ever-skilled crypto analyst from MarketRebellion.com. And it is February the 19th. We are two-thirds of the way through this month. And let me just tell you, when will it end? Well, we actually spoke about that on a previous episode this week.
The month or the rally? Or the storm? Which one?
Well, I'm talking about the bull run because all we can think about right now is the bull run. We got all-time highs for Bitcoin, Ryan. We got all-time highs for Ethereum, and Ryan's a big Ethereum maxi. He's going to retire on Ethereum, I think. We are hitting some really good numbers. I mean, I won't even talk about the company whose hat I'm wearing. Forget about it. But that being said, we're going to hit the big boards. We're going to cut through the noise. We're going to see what's happening and what we think might happen on both Ethereum and Bitcoin today for this. Is it Friday already?
It is, thank God.
It is Friday for this Friday episode. So, Brian, I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Absolutely. Also, one more thing, Alex. CoinDesk is down right now. That's crazy. I don't remember the last time CoinDesk's website went down.
You know, maybe people got it confused with Coinbase.
Number go up.
If we're sharing here interesting facts, one thing I'll note is that TradingView has now surpassed Pornhub for the most frequently viewed site. So quite a feat by TradingView, and you know, much more people are evidently trading now than, you know. So
using Pornhub.
Whoa, CJ, you can't. I mean, we can't. That is really interesting news, CJ, and you know, how you found that out, well, you know, I don't want to know. But if there's no real chart to delve into with this, but if we think about it, when we delve into it, you know, from just a mind wave, what do you think that's telling us? I'm gonna move.
People are making money.
People are making money to pay for Pornhub premium accounts, right? Like whatever it is, Pornhub Gold or Pornhub Premium, they need to make the money and then they pay for the account. And then instead of the rotation into alts, it'll be the rotation to porn.
So trickle down economics. I get it. All right, Ryan, we haven't even gotten the legal out of the way. We're already in trouble.
All right, let's do that. This is just a reminder that all content provided by Trade the Chain is for informational and educational purposes only. Absolutely none of this is investment or lifestyle advice. Do not listen to us at all.
You see that, CJ? We've had to add the lifestyle advice to the disclaimer.
Trade the Chain is brought to you by Trade the Chain, a global 24/7 community of traders, all ages, all abilities, all using AI-driven sentiment indicators and actionable alerts to help them beat the market and trade like a crypto insider. If you want a 14-day trial, check out TradeTheChain.com. And look at sentiment. It's bullish for the most part. Big surprise here. We're neutral to bullish. A lot more green than there is red there. We'll get into why after CJ does the Market Rebellion plug.
It's pretty interesting. Bitcoin Cash is one of the only negatives on a day like today.
Can't imagine why.
Can you not get Roger after us, please?
I haven't heard from Roger in quite a while. But anyways, MarketRebellion.com/crypto. This is Monty and myself and our community. With us, you get access to exclusive trade ideas, our macro portfolio allocations, a pro charting platform, a trading education curriculum, and an elite community of traders all throughout the world, and much more. If you're serious about trading crypto, this is the service that gives you everything you need all in one place. You can start your first month trial for just $1 at MarketRebellion.com/crypto. We have a mobile app as well for Apple users, and so we've been growing quite a bit, as well as Trade the Chain. So we appreciate that, guys, and we're grateful to have you in our community. But going over to the big boards here with Bitcoin, new highs nearly all across the board. You know, a lot of friends who have recently migrated in crypto, just I know personally, who aren't traders. They're up on you know, all their coins about 30 to at least 50%. So the vast majority of market participants are very profitable at this particular point in the market cycle. So interesting thing to consider there. We're now approaching $55,000 on Bitcoin. On the 4-hour chart, you can see that we've gone overextended and are now above the top Keltner channel here, that purple line you can see. And so I'm going to look for price to consolidate above that level. Currently, that level is about 53.9K. We'll see if that level holds and continues to go up. Checking out the daily chart. Let's see what we have here. Same type of thing, you know, a very bullish green engulfing candle. The engulfing candles are the most bullish when looking at, you know, candlestick analysis. So, I mean, I really can't say anything too different from what I said yesterday. And that's just like, you know, there's really no reason to sell from my perspective, from like a hodl mentality or even a mentality, say, even if I only got in from 45K. But as you can see, we have another beautiful green 3 candle occurring on the weekly chart. And that 62K level is ultimately becoming closer and closer as we continue this trend. So I expect us to hit that level here. We're going to close the weekly candle in 2 days and 6 hours. After that, we'll get a nice green 4 here and hopefully a green 5 afterwards to really test this upper channel. It's becoming more and more likely. So that's all I got to say about that. And I want to hand things to Monty.
Thank you, CJ. Let me quickly just close my Trading View and Pornhub tabs here in that order. No, just kidding. I use our trade. I use our.
You saw how he clarified for only the trading portion. I'm gonna stop.
But yeah, look at that, right on cue. Right while we're filming this, we're breaking above 55K, all-time high here. Really beautiful 4 candle run up here on the daily chart. This for me is a very bullish indication here. One thing that I think could potentially limit the upside potential, but at the same time maybe give us an estimate as to where this trend might kind of cool off a little bit, is this upper Bollinger Band here. As you can see, during this market cycle, it's been relatively successful at kind of predicting the tops, particularly during periods of uptrends like this. And to me, this period right here looks very similar to this right here when we broke above 38K for the first time. But in reality here, this is, like CJ pointed out, this engulfing candle is a very bullish indication. And the fact that we're only on a green 4 implies that there's still room to run on this trend. So if we look at where this top Bollinger Band might actually end up by the time we do approach it, we're looking at around 60K right up here. So I think that would be very, very likely that we get a reversal if we do hit 60K, just because of the psychological tendency of people to sell at these round numbers. But I mean, really, today's daily candle has kind of eliminated any doubt about the direction of this trend, because it just completely smashed through the previous high and kind of negated this bearish price action on this green 3 right here. So really love to see this, and I'm looking to maybe take some profit once we start closing the distance between the top of this candle and this upper threshold on the Bollinger Band. But yeah, on pretty much every time frame across the board, we are pretty bullish here. So I'm pretty excited to be watching this going into the weekend, because as we've pointed out, the weekends can be particularly volatile due to the thin order books. So we could either propel even farther upward or maybe even retest 52K. But what's very encouraging is the fact that we are getting this new setup support here on the hourly chart. So if we do get a steep sell-off this weekend, this would likely act as very strong support, because it's got this setup green 9 here, as well as this support from this middle Bollinger Band. So yeah, this really is kind of breaking us into new territory here, and we still have room to run in on many time frames. So great bullish price action from Bitcoin, and 55K proved to really not be too much resistance at all.
So one quick thing, one aside, because you guys mentioned Bitcoin Cash. It's down likely because it was just delisted by OKCoin. So it was just announced about an hour ago, both Bitcoin Cash and BSV.
Did they give a reason?
Malicious misinformation campaigns. It's on the front page of Cointelegraph right now. But looking back at Bitcoin, this rally and the euphoria around it and the enthusiasm and momentum behind it. Alex, remember back in like 2006 when people who had no business buying houses were getting like 3 houses with no money down?
Sure.
And it was like, oh my God, I got a house in Florida. Really? Because you can barely pay your rent in New York. How's that work? Right? And I could tell. I was only 24, 25 years old at the time, depending on what time of year it was. And I'm just thinking to myself, I mean, I'm no expert, but this doesn't seem sustainable, right? It didn't make sense. It was going to collapse. And this rally in Bitcoin and the amount of people getting into it right now and the amount of companies getting into it right now, we may still have room to run up. The housing market ran up for what, 7 years? I feel like there's going to be a violent collapse. And it might not come this weekend. I'm still standing by my call that there will be profit taking this weekend. I'm stubborn. And I'm right, I think. But I really feel like we're setting a lot of retail investors up to lose a lot of money with this rally. And I wouldn't touch Bitcoin with a 40-foot pole right now. Sure, you might get some upside, but you don't know when that retracement is going to happen.
You talking about weekend short term?
In general, I wouldn't buy Bitcoin right now if I were a retail investor at all. I just wouldn't.
Well, I mean,
Never buy into a rally.
Even
Ever.
if you had zero exposure to the
if you had
crypto
zero
space,
exposure, would you buy into Bitcoin?
No, absolutely not.
I would. I won't.
Yeah,
I'm
I
not
would.
buying Bitcoin now anymore. But I would buy it if I had zero exposure.
But what if you lose, say, 40% in like a week or two? Wouldn't you be kind of annoyed?
Well, there's a lot of people who did that in December of 2017.
Right. But
Of course, it's a natural reaction to be annoyed.
what you were talking about on the AMA, right? That
Yes.
rings true. Eventually, this party is going to come to an end when companies that have Bitcoin in their treasury decide to
100%.
capitulate and lock in profits.
I'm talking about it. I'm talking about it in the words of you, lockstep with CJ, who I'm in agreement with as far as where we are in the life cycle of this bull run, right? So I'm not looking for a 60% retracement, come Sunday during my, PBS news hour.
No.
I'm looking for a retracement for the end of this bull run at the end of the year. I think CJ's maybe a couple months ahead of or out from me in January, February. I'm more December-ish, but I think we're going to have it. And you're absolutely right, Ryan. There's going to be an acceleration of that retracement depending on the rebalancing of balance sheets from the corporates who bought the Bitcoin. And that's that. But I'm going to sell all my Bitcoin when the bull run does end at the end of the year. And I'm going to take profits, and I'm going to re-enter at a lower price point for the next 2 years or whatever cycle time I got to wait.
My exit point for Bitcoin would be 100K. If we hit 100K,
I think we'll be more than that. Ryan, I bet you we're 120. My prediction is end of the bull run in December, which is when I think it's going to end. 125 to 150,000, I think, is very easily covered.
I'm okay with exiting at 100K though. I've locked in quite a bit.
Here we go. See, now you poked the monster. The
I'm fine with
Kimono
that.
is pulling.
Maybe you
the
bring
amount
out
of
the
profit-
macro models, Ryan. You
Here,
made me do
I'm
it.
gonna say
The
something.
amount of profit that I will have locked in at 100K Bitcoin, I'm fine with that. I will sleep
Me
well.
too. I will too. I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah,
Just
and I
like-
think
Just like
Right.
VGX.
So-
Ryan, I think your 100K selling estimate, I think that could be a good one if you just look at the stock to flow model and kind of see when retail traders tend to get burned. It's typically during this green period when we're about this far from the halvening. So anyone that buys in this period right here is likely getting burned pretty hard. But I still think we have, based on macro models and based on stock to flow, it looks like we still have some room to run here. And I think that traders that buy in right now will still be profitable in this market cycle, just based on the fact that stock to flow is predicting a consolidation of around 100K. But before we get that consolidation, I think CJ's prediction of a huge run up and then a steep correction back to this level which is what we've seen in previous market cycles as well, is pretty likely here. So
Yes.
Right.
Like
But I think also,
look at the orange on
Yeah.
the previous market cycle, and now look at the orange that we're in right now. We may not even be at the next bear market cycle low, you know?
no, that's fine, right? But like the way I'm looking at this is, even if we're not at the next bear market low, if you're just getting in as a retail investor, and what the average retail investor might put a couple thousand into Bitcoin, they're not going to buy a whole Bitcoin at these prices, the average retail investor. It's just not going to happen again, unless there's a dramatic retracement. So if you're doing that, I'm thinking let Bitcoin top this time. And then once it tops and it retraces, I'll buy in whatever that discount is. And then ride that next wave up. I don't want to buy now with the risk of, okay, this is all great and everything's going well. Then all of a sudden this weekend, Bitcoin circles the drain like it's done on many weekends, and I lose 20% right off the bat.
Well, it depends on if you're a value investor or not. All right, I'm going to try to talk adult-like on this. So if you're a value investor and you look at the time frame between the previous tops and the oranges afterwards, right?
Mm-hmm.
This provides, and the one before that as well, this provides a very good DCA model. So for those folks who are going to buy now, take their run up, their gains. Maybe they offshoot some gains. Maybe they keep their gains, but they're going to go down again. They're going to buy back in. And if we are correct on what our outlook is, that means that this time next cycle, they're just going to have more appreciation of their value for the long term. And it's just going to do that like a set of stairs going up to the bedroom.
Long term, absolutely. I'm bullish on Bitcoin. And the sentiment on Trade the Chain is bullish long term on Bitcoin. I try to avoid buying into a frenzied rally. It's like buying a house in 2007. I can't imagine why anyone would have bought a house in 2007. I had a friend buy one on Staten Island. I was like, dude, you're insane. Just wait a year. You know, I don't know. I try not to buy at the height of market frenzy for anything.
I don't think, but I think we're far less than halfway there. If we're saying that, you know, our outlook is 100 to 125,000, I think it's going to be 125 to 150. You still have multiple times to 2x your money. Now, where your logic is, Ryan, because you're like the rest of us here, where we trade in altcoins as well, as there's a lot more opportunity for those riskier bets. But not everybody has that appetite, you know?
I'm a degenerate gambler. I'd rather put it where there's more upside versus something that I'm on the fence about, right? I could be wrong about a DeFi coin, but I'm okay with that because that's a calculated risk that I took. But if it's with Bitcoin, I'd be annoyed because I just.
What's your shirt say? What's your shirt say?
Who's crazy now?
Yeah. Well, okay.
I don't know. I'm happy to let the Bitcoin I have ride up now. I'm not going to sell it anytime soon, and I'd rather just take the higher upside bets on altcoins to get those multiples.
All right. Let's go to ETH.
Yeah, speaking of those altcoin multiples.
ETH, baby. There it is. That's the one. I'm not buying any more ETH right now either, but.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree. I'm not gonna buy any more ETH.
Really, I'm of a different opinion. So.
Oh.
Oh, really? Well, no time like the present, Monty. Come on.
All right. Well, I just think that because of the fact that we've been kind of, I mean, not so much consolidating, but just the fact that we've been hovering around this, below this 2K price point for a few days now and kind of been unable to break above it. For me, I think that's a pretty encouraging sign. If I've been watching the hourly chart pretty closely for the last couple of days here, and one thing that I have noticed is the fact that we were really kind of stagnating below this setup resistance right here at 1942. And I decided to go ahead and enter a long trade when we broke above this level, because the way I see it is ETH has tremendous upside potential right now. A lot of the sell orders that were placed around 2K, a lot of the profit taking from the longer positions that have been holding for upwards of a year have probably been shaken out during this period right here. And that was where we saw this bull run slow down and start getting some sell pressure. But now that we've broken above this level, I think that's indicative of one, that the bulls are taking control, and two, that there is less upward resistance than there is, there's less upwards resistance than there is downward support. So that's something that I basically look for when I'm trying to enter a long trade, is just the relationship between upward resistance and downward support. And here, I just love the support levels below the current price for ETH of 1942. I think it's very unlikely that price will dip below this point before breaking above 2K. And that's kind of being supported by this yellow Bollinger Band line that has acted as very solid support during this run up. So unlike you guys, I'm pretty bullish on ETH right now.
Yeah, but there's a difference between, like, yeah, I'm bullish on ETH as well, but I just think there are so many smaller projects with such higher potential. I'll take VGX because we talk about it all the time. If we project, let's say 200K Bitcoin, that's a 4x roughly, and VGX is at like $5. If you project, $30, $40, obviously that's a lot more on a percentage basis. So I think Ethereum is definitely the safe bet, but I just don't think you're going to see that level of exponential growth in market cap because it's already so integrated and it's so popular in the space. Doesn't mean it won't do very, very well, but it's just not in my personal portfolio for that reason.
CJ, I'm happy. I'm perfectly happy if I'm doing some swap trades or something like that, to have that ETH exposure, that long exposure. For my swaps and gas fees and stuff like that. I feel like it's a double win when I bang out a good trade. So, I mean, I'm content with that.
I'm content to ride it up. I mean, I'm not selling my ETH anytime soon, but I'd rather buy StormX or Cardano or Polkadot. So, like you're saying, CJ, there's so many other opportunities. Sushi, Uni. Why would I buy more ETH right now? Or why would I buy Bitcoin right now? When best case scenario, we're talking Bitcoin is 3x. That's great. That's a lot of money. But like Sushi Swap and Cardano, these things are going up 7, 8x, like in short order. This is why I wouldn't buy more Bitcoin right now or buy more ETH right now. It's not that I'm not bullish on them long term. It's just I'm not in crypto so I can get the same gains I'd get in an equities market, right? Where I'm happy with just 10% or 20%. I want ridiculous gains. Like that's the reason I'm here. And I'm not an expert trader, but I've done really well this year. And I see where opportunity is. And this is where I'm seeing the opportunity for me. This is what works for me.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I mean, while you're at it, why don't we just end this show with what we are watching as possible trades over the course of this weekend, next couple of weeks. Monty, what do you got? Give us 2, 3 that you're looking at for short-term pop trades.
Sure thing. So a couple of them. One, I published a trade insight for this morning in our community, and that is Link. And this is one that has already broken out pretty well, but I still think has more room to the upside. So if you look, it's really kind of flirting with this all-time high for the first time since we hit this all-time high over here. And I think that kind of the sentiment that you guys were just talking about, how retail traders are really looking for these kind of big opportunity takers. I think a lot of people that are contemplating buying ETH or are bullish on ETH long-term like we are, but are looking for a more volatile return, will look to Link. And I always get very bullish on an asset when it's close to breaking past its all-time high and entering into what is essentially price discovery here. And it goes back to what I was saying about ETH. There's just, once it breaks above this all-time high of 35.7, there is really no resistance at all up here. And it has strong support below in the form of this setup 9 here in the Bollinger Band. So I do think Link is really posturing itself nicely to break above this 35.7 level and go parabolic here. So this is one that I'll be watching closely this weekend. And I think one that retail traders will really trade bullishly.
Okay. CJ?
Yep. Something I've been talking about is I'll go back to StormX. And I want to check out the 4-hour. Get this stuff to load. But yeah, StormX is it's one of those that has a high potential of breaking out, I think, and it hasn't even really done so yet. It's shown that it can pump, but it has not. It's not gone like fully parabolic yet. So what I've been watching and what I like to see on the 4-hour chart here is that we often have, after a recent top, we have a consolidation back to. Let me get the 4-hour for you guys. We have a consolidation in these middle Bollinger Bands before testing upward. And like Monty said with Link, you know, we're very similar on StormX in the sense that we're almost breaking above this prior high around 1.2, and then ultimately all the way up to 1.7 and almost 2 cents. So StormX is one that is in a very bullish neutral consolidation that is not fully broken out to the upside yet. So I'll be watching that one.
Also, StormX is it's at 91 million market cap.
Yeah, this could 10x and still not have the market cap of VGX.
Exactly.
And let's say, you know, Bitcoin does become, you know, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, you know, if it reaches that 150K level, $200,000 level, an asset like StormX could reach over $1 billion in market cap. I see that being a very likely possibility just on hype alone.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I want to ask Monty, and this is because we talk about price predictions for VGX, we kind of have a number for Bitcoin laid out. What's your price prediction for ETH in the end of the cycle, if you have one?
Wow, end of the cycle. So the way I like to make these macro predictions, especially for ETH, would be first I would base my prediction on stock to flow for Bitcoin and then use that to kind of extrapolate how much I think ETH is going to go up. And if we think Bitcoin is going to potentially hit 150K before possibly consolidating around 100K, that's a 3 times move. So I expect ETH to do even better than that because, like we always talk about, when you kind of move down the stream of the hierarchy here in crypto, you get higher beta, which is why retail traders love altcoins. I think ETH could see a 5x. So we're looking at 10K by the end of this market cycle. I think definitely don't think it'll be higher than that, but I think that is not outside the realm of possibility if Bitcoin does go to 150K.
So if ETH goes up to, let's say ETH goes up to 9K, right? What do you think the retracement after that will look like? What will the profit taking look like?
We'll be where we are today.
Yeah, well, that's all contingent on Bitcoin. And I think if we do see a 50% correction in Bitcoin, I think it'll be even more pronounced in ETH. So I would definitely plan to take profits as close as I could to the top of that macro cycle, because I do think that when we get that correction, it's going to be a bit harsher for ETH. So 50%, maybe 60% correction. So that means if we go to 10K, maybe back down to 5K. I'm excited for that market. It's gonna be fun.
Me too. I'd sell it 9K though. Even if it goes up to 10K, I'm happy at 9K. Yeah. I don't have to capture all the upside. I just have to capture most of it.
Exactly.
And the beautiful thing is, like, regardless if we go up to 10K, even if we go up to 20K, say, like that retracement, you can play the market both sides. You know, there's opportunity on the downside just as much as the upside. So that's why traders come to this market, strictly for volatility.
Can't wait to get wrecked.
We love the volatility. It's so good. I'll just add mine. So I'm with CJ on StormX. I'm looking to enter a position into this. I am looking to enter a position into Cardano. I've been following that. There's this guy Petruccio in our community, and I've learned a lot from him and fed off his enthusiasm on it. Believe it or not, I have my cost basis on VGX is very, very low. I'm actually going to be adding to my VGX position for, you know, not only just price, but I'm also looking to get that top tier rung that was mentioned in the VLP. And so I want to do that before getting there gets too expensive. And I only have a little ways to go. I didn't know about the VLP. None of us did when he announced it. So I'm just going to fill in that gap so I can get that extra perks and rewards. And then to Monty on Chainlink. Now, my cost basis on Chainlink is sub $10. I won't say specifically, but it's decent. I'm actually going to be looking to take profit on this shortly. I've earned a lot of it. I don't know exactly how much more legs it has in it. So yeah, that's me. I'm looking to take profit on Chainlink, a new position Cardano, new position StormX, and add to my position in VGX.
So basically, Alex is the bag master.
May as well share the tokens I'm looking at. Hold on.
Go for it.
There we go. Look at that. So basically, a lot of them are similar to what you guys are looking at. I've got Voyager, of course, Polkadot, Chainlink, Uniswap rather, Bitcoin, ETH, and Cardano.
Tell everybody why you're buying Uniswap though. Tell them the one important reason. Nothing else.
Pink unicorn.
Yes, thank you. All the fundamental analysis you need for Uniswap is it has a pink unicorn.
I like the pretty pink unicorn. One thing that I did notice though on the Trade the Chain dashboard that could be compelling for this weekend, look at Ren. Everything's pointing in the right direction, right? It could be a compelling trade.
Ravencoin, not too bad. I just have never held Ravencoin. Have you anybody here played around with RVN?
No.
I mined it actually back in the day.
I remember that back in college you were mining it.
Because it was proof of stake. So yeah, no, I didn't hold it. But yeah, there was a Ravencoin core wallet that you could mine to. This was even before it was listed on Binance, because I heard the CEO of Overstock before he kind of went crazy. He was investing in it, and they were doing it was basically just a proof of stake energy, more efficient idea of Bitcoin. That when they first listed it on Binance, it started at, a cent, and you couldn't short it. There's no vehicle to short it. Everybody just bought it up like a gambler on Binance. And I think it went to like at least 6 cents from 1 cent. And this was in the peak of a bear market when nothing else was doing anything. So I do remember that interesting little run in Ravencoin.
Well, very cool. Guys, I hope you take a look at our picks and what we're doing. We gave you a little insight. We weren't directing you to buy or sell anything, but it always feels good when you can see what other people are doing and kind of bask in their ideas. It is Friday. It's Happy Friday. You will see us next Monday. Hopefully the charts stay green going all the way through the weekend, so we don't have to make any emergency hop-ons to YouTube to calm everybody down. But I think we'll be good. We have good momentum, good sentiment going into it. So hang on to your handlebars. Trade happily. I'm losing anything to say in the end here. Anyway, we're not going to edit this. So
Thank you, folks.
yes.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you for wearing the kimono, CJ.
Yeah, buddy.
Give the people what they want.